Hi, beautiful. Monique Head here, relationship coach to passionate marriage-minded women. And I teach women the skills that sparks desire, ignites purpose in men, and creates the immense emotional connection that inspires commitment. And today, I want to give you an option. I want to give you an alternative to telling a man that you love him. You can say that if you want to, and that's good. And I'm going to share some problems and some cons or challenges of why we might want to say something different than I love you. But really, I thought about this topic because we women we want to give love. We give love the way that we want to receive it. And in the book, The Five Love Languages, the author talks about this. So whatever your love language is, whether it's acts of service, gifts, which is one of mine, I think it's changing now. That I would do those things for the man in my life, and oftentimes he wasn't really receptive to that. So as a matter of fact, I can remember in college when I was up at the University of Michigan, and the guy that I was seeing at the time, my boyfriend at the time, went to school in Oklahoma, and I picked him up from the airport and I greeted him. I bought some white roses, right? And I greeted him with flowers. And the look on his face wasn't one of appreciation. Actually, it was kind of like fear and terror. And what was funny was that this older gentleman came up, and he was like, "Oh, look, she brought you flowers," And it was like this embarrassing, emasculating thing. But guess what? I didn't know better, and I'm so glad I did that in my early 20s versus right now in my life, because these are the things that we don't even know. We don't know better. So I said that to say that that's just an example of wanting to show love in the way, excuse me, showing love in the way that I want to receive love, right? So I like to get flowers. I want to be cherished. I want to be adored. I want to be treasured. I want to feel all of these things. And for men, we have to understand that it's different, right? His primary need is not to be cherished, adored. His primary need is to be respected. And so don't get me wrong, we women oftentimes want to be appreciated and respected too, but we have to think about in terms of relationships, romantic relationships with the man. What's more important to you? Do you want to be cherished, or do you want to be, respected? So this message is for the woman who really wants to be cherished. And my intent is to give you just a tip so how you can get cherished by sparking desire, um, and operating more in your feminine allure. So here's the risk. Here's really the problem, the challenge, the con with saying I love you. Number one is that oftentimes we don't mean it, right? We don't mean it. And what we really, when we say I love you, what we're trying to say is that I appreciate you so much. Like, I'm just so grateful to have you in my life. I just really enjoy being around you. And I can remember another example actually where I was moving. It was the time where I was moving from my home in Michigan to St. Louis. And my boyfriend at the time he was so helpful, and I was just so appreciative. And I had never told him I loved him, but I was just so happy in that moment and so grateful. And I was afraid to say, hey, I love you. So what I did instead was that I wrote a note. I wrote it on a paper and then I held it up like this, right? And he didn't say I love you back. What did he say? I think he said, I didn't know you felt that way, right? So what I want to share with you is a less riskier option, because oftentimes with women, we want to share our feelings and then we want to be seen, but at the same time, we're afraid to be seen because we don't really know how that person is going to respond. And that really blocks our growth and just living in our own purpose. So the challenges with it again is that it can be obligation. Number one, we don't mean it, and we're not really sure. Number two, it's obligation. We say it out of obligation and habit. Number three, it becomes this vain repetition. Oh, we just say it over and over. Oh, I love you, boy, I love you, baby, I love you. And even the Bible talks about this. The Scripture speaks about this in the way that I believe in the book of Matthew. It says when you're praying, don't pray in vain repetition, saying the same things over and over again in hopes that your prayer is going to be answered. When you are speaking and you are coming from this place of belief, right, where your belief carries a vibration with it, right, because there's a spirit of conviction and sincerity and earnest with it, that's when you get out of what Napoleon Hill talks about, hypnotic living. Okay, so that's the challenge oftentimes with saying I love you, is that everybody's saying it, but really what you want is to express more than that, right? Because you want to show that you're beyond that, and you don't want to do what everyone else is doing. That's what commonness is, right? So here's what you can do instead. Because respect and appreciation is something that men need, you can just share it. Tell him how much you respect him, how much you appreciate him. And here's an example of what this might look like. Just recently, I was in my head, right? I was in victim mode because of some things that was happening with family, right? So I'm thinking, well, why do I have to be doing everything? And why, just like bawling in victim mode. And in that moment, I called my husband and I said, well, babe, this is how I'm feeling. And I was like, rah, 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 right? Because I wasn't watering my garden. So I was like, going off, and he calmed me down, with his masculine self, with the structure, and just the way that he was able to calm me down in that moment and give me a different option, right? He made a suggestion and I acted on that. So this is what I said, and this is what you can do for the man that you really want to express your love and appreciation for without the risk. You can say something like this, because this is what I said. Babe, you know what? And I didn't say it in that moment. I reflected on it, because this is something that I felt afterwards. Babe, you know what? I just want to thank you so much, right? I love the way that, right? I'm so grateful for. I really respect the fact. So I share with him, you know what? I just love the way that I can come to you, and you can give me, what did I say? What did I actually say? I said, you know what, babe? I thank you so much. Like, thank you so much for the guidance that you had given me. I just really appreciate your leadership, because you got me out of my head. I called such and such, and this is what happened. So that's one example. You might also say, what else did I say to you? I mean, really, that was it. But you can say, I love the way that you do this. So I love the way that you're just able to, like, I really respect the way that you can get me out of my head. I really respect the way that you can just, like, take leadership on this in this way. All of those things are feeding his spirit, right? It's feeding that masculine need. You're nurturing that masculine spirit that he has. And in turn, your femininity is going to be cherished, right? Because it is femininity to which masculinity is first attracted to. Okay. So this is why it's so important, because in that moment, when you are expressing your appreciation and your respect, and you're not doing like, oh, I respect you so much, oh, I just, appreciate you so much, because that's vain repetition, that's hypnotic rhythm, and that's where you don't want to go. You want to get into the belief, right? Because as you do so, as the alluring woman, right, as a kingdom builder, I mean, what better way to serve God than to learn these skills and learn how to be in a relationship and love a man, so that you are creating holistic and healthy families. What happens is that your words, when you are in belief of that, right, it carries that vibration. Okay, it carries the vibration that sparks the desire. You create the sexual polarity that sparks the desire, and that vibrates. That's what it is. It's a vibration, and it's different. It's refreshing, so that you are going to be associated not with the manipulation, not with the habit and the obligation and the same old. I love you, girl. I love you. Instead, you're getting something new, right? And you're creating the tension that sparks the desire. It ignites the purpose. And I bet you, right? Well, let's count on it. I ain't gonna say I bet. But you can count on his response to be different, right? So when you practice this, I just want you to take notice and make leave a comment. What do you notice differently? Maybe he'll smile a little bit more. Maybe he will embrace you in that moment. Maybe he'll say something different that you hadn't heard before, when you just said, I love you, I love you, I love you. And maybe you don't want to say I love you. So this is a safe alternative for you. Okay. So let me see if I'm missing anything, because I wrote some things down. I wrote some things down for you. So yes, that is it, ladies. That is it. So, I hope that this information served you well. And if it did, right, I want you to share it. Because when you share, you add value. Don't keep me a secret. Share like I'm sharing this with you. If it's making that impact, like it, leave a comment below, share with just 2 women that you know. And if you want to learn more, right, if you want to learn more about how to be the alluring woman, how to operate in your feminine allure, I want to offer you a complimentary 3-part video training series. And it's called Be the Woman Who Gets Everything That She Wants. And you can get that by clicking the link below in the description box, and it's going to direct you to that. And that's something that you can totally opt into. Okay, so ladies, I thank you so much for your time. I hope that this information served you, and I'll see you in the next video.